Hello, my name is Chris Ciccone, and this is my partner, Gabriel de Oliveira, and we are going to be presenting our proposal for the Antico Cafe Greco Cafe in Rome, Italy today. So bottom line up front, our recommendation is that ACG should split the cafe into a to-go line and a seated line, or a seated area rather, pool the line into a single line, buy an automatic machine, and train the baristas. Training the baristas will reduce their standard deviation of service by 50%. And our overall recommendations will reduce wait times from about 15 minutes to under 3 minutes. And utilization of baristas will drop from 95% to more about 75%.
So I'm Gabriel, and I'm going to cover the current setup. In here, we found out that the orders are arriving at 38 an hour, and the service is usually 40. So the utilization is high. It's at 95%. But you can also see that the average time a customer spends in line gets close to 15 minutes, and the average time a customer spends in the system, meaning that the time they wait to get a cup of coffee, it's 16.45 minutes. From this current setup, we can also see that the average of customers in the system is 10, and the average number of customers in the waiting line is 9.47. And to make this better, we decided that ACG should have two different systems. So the front of the house system will be a balcony system where they will still have the 3 baristas. However, it would implement a pooled system. And this will also help reduce the arrival orders to 90 instead of 114 for the front of the house. This is going to keep the service as 40. And with the training of the baristas, we get a lower standard deviation. The results are very impressive. The utilization drops now to 0.75. And the average number of customers in the waiting line, it's only 1. The average time a customer spends in a waiting line now, it's 0.6 minutes, which is really impressive. The average number of customers in the system is only 3.15. And the average time a customer waits for a cup of coffee, it's only 2.1 minutes. We also ran a simulation that matches our results. The servers, we can see utilization of 74%. And we can also see that the waiting time to get a cup of coffee, it's only 2.14. Additionally, we're proposing to set up an auto machine for the sitting areas. So people who wants to sit and be waited, they will have a different waiting time. However, this is only the leftover out of the 114 orders we had in the beginning. So recapping, we would have the baristas in the front only getting 30 orders instead of 38. So the 8 extra orders they used to have, it's going to come to the auto machine. And this is why we have the number 24 here. The service stays the same. However, with the auto machine, we don't have a standard deviation. The utilization of this machine gets only to 60%. The average number of customers waiting, it's less than half. The average time a customer spends waiting for the coffee, it's 1.12 minutes to order the coffee, and the average to get the cup of coffee, it's only 2.62 minutes. And the customers in the system, it's only averaging in 1. And we also ran a simulation that matches our GGK. And here we can see the server is only at 59% utilization, and their waiting time to get a cup of coffee only 2.62%.
So when looking at the utilization, as this was something that was very important to ACG, under the current system, each barista is working nonstop. They're at 95% utilization, and that's going to lead to them being very fatigued. And we all know when you're fatigued, you're going to make mistakes. You have to remake coffee. It's overall just an unsustainable approach that's going to lead to poorer service and less satisfaction on behalf of the customers, leading to poor reviews, and it spirals from there. Under the new system that we're proposing, it's going to reduce that utilization, as we mentioned, from 95% to 75%, which in turn is going to lead to less fatigue, less mistakes, and more happy customers. This also is going to help the psychology of the customers, which I'll get into in a second. We also recommended that we pool the line into a single line at that to-go system. Under the old system, it was very disorganized. You had 3 separate lines that all moved very slow, and each barista could only handle one order or one individual coffee at a time. In this new system, the pooled line, multiple baristas are going to be able to come together and service large orders. So if you have, say, a customer who orders 4 or 5 coffees, the baristas can work together on that rather than pinning it all on one person. This will move customers through the line quicker. And when people see more customers moving, the perceived wait is not as severe. And this is going to overall improve a team effort thanks to that lower utilization rate that we saw previously of 75%. There's going to be a bit more downtime and availability for these baristas to work together on larger or more complex orders. So variance. In the current system, baristas can take much longer on orders, especially those large complex ones I just mentioned before. This is going to slow down the line and, of course, lower your customer satisfaction. In the new system, getting the baristas trained, it's going to lower their overall standard deviation, meaning you're going to have more consistency and better overall coffee. They're going to turn orders faster, and it's just going to be better service for the customer. In terms of psychology, in the old system, you had very slow lines. If I'm in this line, I see one barista working really, really hard, but only one person leaving a line at a time. It's going to be, oh man, look at this line. That's going to be the impression on the customer. Under the new system, yes, it's only going to be one line. So you could see that very long line and be concerned, but you're going to see multiple customers moving and people are going to be consistently moving forward. Baristas will be taking orders, quote unquote, quicker. And you're going to be getting that impression of, oh, don't worry, the line's moving. It's not a stagnant line like, say, at Disney World. So getting into our analysis of our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths, we're going to have much quicker service and less utilization. Weaknesses, the one line, as I just mentioned, could make the wait look longer than it really is. So if someone doesn't really pay attention, they might see a long line and decide to move on. Seated people will wait slightly longer for their coffee than the people in the to-go line. Also, based off menu pricing currently, customers may not exactly like the higher prices. Granted, we do feel it's justified given ACG's location and historical significance and experience. In terms of opportunities, there's the option to increase service for the seated area. As we mentioned, the seated area using the automatic machine is only going to have an operational utilization of about 60%, I apologize, which means you have room to increase that a little bit. In terms of threats, customers may not like this new system and go elsewhere. Also, baristas may not like this new system and decide that they don't want to necessarily go through either the training or a new system overall.
In conclusion, we can see that we made some suggestions for the ACG team where they should train the baristas, get a pool system set, and split the cafe in half. The purchase of an automatic machine is not only going to increase their productivity and reduce the utilization, but could also be tapped into a growth in their revenue if they decide to expand the sitting area. As a result, we can see that utilization drops to 75%, the wait times cut dramatically, and the customer experience improves. In the end, everybody wins.